Hey y'all, hey, it's another episode of Bonafide Her podcast featuring Jannelle Moore. Beep, 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 beep.
Hey, thank you for having me on. I am appreciative to be on today.
That's what's up. I'm glad to hear that. How are you today, though?
I am doing fine. I'm doing fine. Just trying to tap into the NBA playoffs, and I know the WNBA's training camp start today, and I'm just excited. I'm excited for the two worlds that collide for me in terms of what I cover.
I know that's right. So let's get it started. So, Miss Jannelle, can you tell us like your sports story or like how you got to where you are?
Okay, I will try to be short and brief about it, but um, sports has always been a hobby of mine. I used to play basketball when I was coming up, and I majored in journalism at North Carolina A&T. And for my college newspaper, I was a sports editor, and I was fine with that. But I gotten away from it by the time I graduated, and thinking that I can't be in the sports industry, and it's the what they say is the toy box in the newsroom. But I was wrong. I've tried to get into the news space um, as a general assignment reporter, but that wasn't it. And it was my mom that convinced me to try sports again, and I did, and I'm so glad I did. And I started in the sports space through SB Nation, writing about the Warriors for Golden State of Mind, and from that opportunity sprung other opportunities, all the way up to the San Jose Mercury, which I was a candidate for the Warriors beat. I didn't get that, but I did get some freelance opportunities, which I turned into ESPN's Anscape. Now I write. Um, I'm a contributor for the Sport News, where I'm writing about the playoffs right now, and I also write about the NFL for Carolina Blitz. So it's just a big. So my journey is weird and odd, and I've had to fight for whatever I have, and I'm still fighting for whatever I have, and that's where I'm at right now.
I feel you. Like, being able to write for football and basketball, what's that like for you?
It's a great experience. It's a great experience for me because I get to step out of my comfort zone and step out of my box. I was a huge football fan, and I kind of gotten out of it. Now I'm back into it, and I'm relearning as I write. And I've and luckily for me, I've gotten better at it and better at it as I continue to get myself familiar with it. My goal is to write about football as well as I do with basketball. And one thing I would love to do is get more into the strategy and the X's and O's about it, so I can make my writing that much better, my question asking that much better, and my understanding that much better.
For sure. And I noticed you're a Warriors fan. So, how long have you been a Warriors fan, and what was it about them like that you just like wanted to write about them?
Ever since Mark Jackson was the coach, what the thing about former players, I'm curious about former players that I've known and to see what kind of coaches they are. Uh, Mark Jackson was the foundation of, the dynasty. Got them playing defense, made Steph and Clay believe into their abilities, and just seeing that journey. And plus, I was already a fan of Steph through Davison. We live in a basketball state, and you're either a Duke fan or a Carolina fan. I'm neither. And whenever there's like another college or mid majors that makes noise, I root for them. and that's what drew me to Steph's journey. So, and that's how I got back into watching the NBA again.
Yeah, because like for real though, I really Steph really has put really Davidson on the map, and then he finally got his jersey retired because the
He,
conditions was he had to graduate in
yeah,
order. Like yes, he left, but he had in order for you to get a jersey, you had to graduate, go through the schooling. So and then how does it feel now that folks are calling it like an end of an era with him now since
see, it's not. But see, here's the thing: it's not an end of an era. It's
Mhm.
not an end of an era for Steph and LeBron and even KD, because they are still averaging 26 points per game and up.
Mhm.
They're not what they used to be, but they're not washed either. The
Right.
issue with the Warriors and the Suns and the Lakers is that their roster construction. They're both their teams are various degrees of mid. The Warriors are mid. The Lakers are mid. The Suns are mid. Steph, KD, and LeBron are still solid. So I wouldn't say that it's the end of an era.
Right.
Not just yet. I believe with the right roster construction, the Warriors still can make a run, but it's that the front office has to believe. And what I've read and what I've been realizing as of late is that they haven't believed since KD left. And they were surprised that they won in 2022. How are you going to, I mean, when KD left, they had a defeatist mindset. How are you going to give up on a Stephen Curry that's 31 years old at the time? How
It's
can
just
how can you not believe in that?
it's crazy because like the fact that they even won without KD and KD was 2022. He was I think he was just getting to Phoenix from Brooklyn. So it was it was a lot like to and then folks, what's crazy? Folks like to criticize KD going from Oklahoma City Thunder to the Warriors to win 2 rings, but it's like I've never seen people criticize LeBron doing it when he like went from Cleveland to Miami and gathered up all like the players, gathered up Dwayne Wade and Chris Bosh, and then went back to Cleveland, gathered up Kyrie and Kevin Love, and then went to the Lakers. It's like you never see to me, and in my opinion, I didn't see no heat like that. Like I didn't see no people criticizing him for that, but I seen more people criticize KD for that. Why you feel like that?
Because from the fans' perspective, they looked at it as KD joining a 73 a team that has gone 73-9. But what they don't realize is that when KD chose the Warriors in free agency, that team that went 73-9 was gutted. So that team didn't exist anymore. When KD came, it wasn't the team that's gone 73-9. It was totally different and different. And remember, Harrison Barnes wanted was up for free agency, and after what he did in 2016, I mean, you wanted to pay for that. You wanted to re up for that. And another thing that people don't realize was that there was whispers about KD to the Warriors way before it actually happened. But people want to be upset. People want to be triggered and blah blah blah. How unfair it is. Well, that's them. And they got what they wanted because KD obviously left So
So my question is for you as a woman in sport, how important is representation to you?
it is very important to me because, I don't care what you see on TV. You see Taylor Rooks, you see the Andrews sisters and whatnot, and that's fine. But people that look like me still represents 1.1% of the industry. So it's very important to have representation and to have the opportunity to talk sports, to analyze, to spout out stupid hot takes with the same energy that the men do. So it's very important. And it's been a battle. It's been a battle for me. And fortunately, in my case, it hasn't been to where I had it a harsher time. But it's still a battle to be heard, and it's a grind, and it's a grind that I'm running through, not running from, because I love what I do, and I know what I'm capable of, and I see the results, and that's what keeps me in it. Loving what I do and knowing I'm just as competent, if not better, than anyone else.
For sure, because if you have that passion for it, just go for it regardless. Like, it's a stepping stone, crash the ceiling, just go for it. So my question is like, how do you feel about the NIL within the collegiate sports?
It's long overdue. It's long overdue because think about it. Before, in some cases, student athletes couldn't have jobs. Some of them couldn't even sell their books back. I know that's how it was when I was in college. And you see these universities making millions and millions of dollars off of ticket sales, merch, whatever have you, and the the student athletes don't get a cut. It's long overdue. And then you know there's boosters, and if you're a student athlete and you are um, dealing with boosters, you get in trouble for it. NILs mitigates all that, so it's long overdue, and it's giving these kids initiatives to stay in college.
Oh yeah. So I mean, yeah, that's true because here's the thing. When you have college NCAA that has been, making money off of these student athletes, their profit, and
Mhm.
they just see basically seeing them as profit instead of people, it kind of, to be honest, takes a toll on the student athletes and their mental health. And to how important is mental health to you, as well as how important do you see mental health is for student athletes?
It's very important for athletes. I think I read somewhere where the suicide rates have increased in this demographic, all due to mental health and the pressures. And it's very important and paramount now for them to take care of the mental health because of the onslaught of sports gambling. And when that same that same game parlay don't hit, these people go in their inboxes and act a fool, and they don't realize that these student athletes and these athletes in general are human. They bleed, they cry, they laugh and hurt just like we do, and that's lost when it comes to whatever that these these gamblers wager, and whatever the case may be.
Yeah, because with everything that's going on, mental health is finally getting, well, it still needs to be more recognized in ways because just like you said, these student athletes, they're student first, they are human. So, you know, with people going crazy in their inbox saying, you didn't hit my parlay, you didn't do what I need to do for fantasy. It's like, man, like, so you basically just seeing them as athletes and not human. Like, that's, to me, it shows like the casualty of a fan and not like a huge fan and stuff.
Yeah, and you're getting a lot of that no matter what league it is because of the popularity of online. I mean, on sports gambling. I mean, sports gambling has been around for eons, but right now it seems to be more embraced, and especially with the legalization of it. And there's been some athletes that just said, screw your parlay. I didn't tell you to wager your mortgage on me. That's something that you did on your own. I mean, when somebody claps back on that, I love it, and that's true. They didn't tell you to bet all that money.
So, man, and we were just talking about we were just talking about before we went on air about marketing, especially with women's sports.
Mhm.
Why do you believe there's a double standards when it comes to who's marketable in the WNBA?
It is a double standards, and people always talk about race don't have anything to do with it, but deep down in their hearts, it does because it is the public who dictates who is marketable and who's not. Did you know that I think that a lot of Caitlin Clark jersey shirts, um, I think they're available for selling all of Dick's Sporting Goods locations. I mean, all of that is fine, and I understand the excitement of Caitlin. I get that. But what everybody is saying, those who have been in the women's basketball space has been saying is that there's been great players before her, and they they need that recognition as well. And that's my thoughts on it. Come for Caitlin Clark. Yes, she is one heck of a draw, and she's a great player. Come for her, but stay for everybody else. Stay for Asia. Stay for Stewie. Stay for enough school. Stay for Plum. That's that's all the majority has been saying. And the double standards are what they are. And that's nothing new because blacks, we have that extra tax of being have to be twice as good to get half of whatever. And it's an easier time for the Caitlins. And I'm glad that Caitlin gave her respects and shined the light on, the Maya Moores, um, Don Stanley, you know, um, all of these great players that came before her on her SNL, and that goes a long way as well.
Oh yeah, because I remember seeing that clip and it was just like, oh well. I mean, she even, I know it was supposed to be a skit, but she put like the couple of the comedians in their place.
Yeah,
So, but
that was good.
oh yeah, it's just I think it's just like you said, like no shade to Caitlin Clark. Like I said, no shade. She's a great player. There's other players during college that were just as good that should have the same spotlight. Like,
Right.
and when the crazy thing was like the media was like just loving her and talking about her, and then even in games that had nothing to do with her or her
Yeah.
team, they highlighted. It's like, yo, like
It,
even when they played against South Carolina.
Mm-hmm.
And that whole thing, like with South Carolina being 38-0, winning the whole thing, it gets overlooked. And with, saying this is the end of Caitlin Clark era, this is the end of this her last game, like, and you saw a little bit of the South Carolina celebrating before the game ended, and you saw it's like, man,
Yeah, yeah. Um, I was in church today, and I was talking to somebody afterwards, and we was talking about the women's game a little bit. I said that the W will go down the same slope that the NBA has in terms of how they market players. Um, the NBA has had this mode of one nighters, just one guy at a time, one guy at a time, and there's so many other players um, that's that can move the needle as well, and how you promote them. Again, um, getting as much as you can in terms of exposure, with Caitlin Clark, that's a good thing. But like I said before, there's not only Caitlin. There's other great players too that you could market as well. And Caitlin, the exposure that Caitlin has can also, and I repeat this, also shine the light on um, everybody else.
yeah, because there's been so many times, of course, women's sports have been, especially basketball, that's always been like people are saying, well, if they lowered the rims, they would be more exciting.
No, see, then that irks me.
Yeah.
That that irks me because these women have been practicing on regular 10 feet foot rims ever since they started playing. Why
Hmm.
lower them now? And furthermore, the men's game isn't really all about the dunks now. Everybody and anybody think that they can shoot threes.
Hmm.
So what's lowering the rim going to do?
Nothing.
And anyway, there's some women that can actually dunk, and I might be mistaken, but the women who can dunk isn't allowed to. Am I right about that?
No, they can dunk
Then why not dunk? Some of them can, but they won't.
because it's more about the fundamentals. So like women's, like it's more exciting for when they. And I think this is the crazy thing we need to debunk about like this whole lowering the rim so it can be more exciting. They can dunk, but like, well, if you saw the South Carolina Kentucky women's game, you saw one of the South Carolina girls got the ball, stole the ball, and dunked it. That was exciting. If you saw like the Jackson State versus UConn in the first round, you saw um, a Jackson State player, try to pin the, ball, the UConn ball, and that's a huge thing because, but even though they called it, what's it called, like goaltending,
Goaltending, yeah.
even though they called it goaltending, it was still exciting that they were able to almost like they touched the ball where there was the backboard. They didn't. It's still exciting. It's still growing, and the women in this generation now is more athletic. They're more faster. So I think this whole like, oh, let's lower the rim, it needs to be gone. It needs to be, that thought needs to be gone. I think anybody that has that thought, they be the same. This is how I see it. Anybody that says if the women's sports make it more exciting if they lower the rim, these are the same people that failed gym class because they didn't want to change clothes.
Yeah.
They failed gym class, and they're the same people that don't get picked up and pick up ball talking about I got next, I got next, I got next, and they don't even get picked up to play pickup. So
or picked last.
Yeah.
If they're picked at all, they get picked last.
So let's, all the women and women in sports, female athletes, we getting tired of seeing the whole lowering the rim. Like we can do what men can do. We can hoop. I mean, shoot, we can play defense. We
Yeah.
can even dunk. Just,
Some of them can, yeah, and I think they should feature that more. Those who can dunk in the WNBA should dunk in the WNBA.
I mean, if Brittany Griner could do it, if Lisa Leslie could do it, if Candace Parker could do it, like you seen all that. So, I mean, so my question is for you, and with this has been a huge topic to me, is and this you've seen this too. Um, why do you believe it's taking so long for Asia Wilson to get a signature shoe, even though she is really the face of the WNBA?
I really don't know because remember Sabrina had a had this about the same issue in terms of getting her signature shoe, but I don't I really don't know what Nike's problem is, especially when at the blink of an eye, Caitlin got hers. So what I'm wondering, and I'll ask you this question: do you think that Asia should go some Asia should go somewhere else?
Um, that's a great question because I remember hearing this topic about it because Brianna Stewart at one point was signed with Nike, and then
And then she went to Puma.
yeah, then she got her shoe from Puma. So
Even
I,
Candace Parker went to Adidas.
Candace Parker had a shoe with Adidas.
Mhm.
I think Skylar Diggins needs to have a shoe with Puma, even though she has merch with Puma. I think she needs to have a shoe with Puma.
I think Skylar was the first one with Puma. I think she got a shoe.
Oh, I haven't seen it. If she does, I didn't get to see it or anything. But I think Jewel Lloyd needs to get a shoe.
Yeah.
Like you are nicknamed Gold Mamba. Um, with
And she was one of I think Kobe backed her. Like knowing who he knew who she was, and that kind of connect.
yeah. So what's it like to see, especially um I this is oh my gosh, I'm still not over Kobe being gone, even though it's been 4 years. What was it like to see, with Kobe advocating for women's sports? And what's it like to finally see more athletes, male athletes, to finally?
I think it's beautiful to see, and but I'm not really surprised that a lot of these men are supporting women's sports because they understand what it takes to go through that, and they respect that versus the average fan who sit who sit on their butts on the couch in their drawers eating Cheetos, downplaying what these women do, making all the sandwich jokes and all of that. Those are the ones that ain't won anything. Those are the ones that ain't played anything. They could never relate, but they can downplay on it to make themselves feel better in the moment. So I'll get around to saying this: these men get it and they understand it. That's why I'm not surprised at the support that it's getting with a lot of them. Some of them coming to the games and just and shining a light on what they do and being an active advocate for it. It's not a surprise because they understand what it takes to get to that level.
For sure. And um, what do as a football writer for the Panthers, Carolina Blitz, what do you hope to see the Panthers do this season?
Well, I am cautiously optimistic about them. I say this because you got a coach in Dave Canellis that wants to be there, first of all. He wants to be there to work with Bryce Young and and their defense. You got that going for him. And with Brian Burns and Frankie Nguvu gone, Evro has people that he knows that's with them. So it might work. I think they could win more than 2 games this year. I'm cautiously optimistic for them to be competitive in a weakened NFC South. They have some pretty had some decent draft picks, and you know they might do something. They might be competitive this year. I wouldn't assume that they're not.
And how can we tell these folks that North Carolina is a sports it's a sports state, but we're really a hoop state because we got a lot of players coming from North Carolina that dominates.
But isn't that obvious though? I mean, who was down that North Carolina's a sports state when Duke and Carolina was really popping? You know, they knew it was a draw. We got pro sports teams here. Who is saying that North Carolina is in the sports state?
You have people saying, you have people claiming like what states are the real hoop states when anybody that knows sports, they know that North
But
Carolina.
who's saying that stuff though? Who are these people?
There's been a lot of people, but you'll have people say California is a hoop state, but it's like, I mean, I'm originally from California, and I know North Carolina is a hoop state.
Yeah,
So
I think like California. I mean, you could say that I don't really know. I mean, they're more of a hoop state than I would say a football state. You know what I mean? Or a baseball state. I could say that much, but North Carolina to basketball is what Texas is to football. How can you not say that North Carolina ain't a hoop state or whatever? That's asinine. That's silly. That's crazy.
it is. I just wish people, if we, I mean, shoot, we get like at least somebody, at least a college making it to either Elite Eight or Final Four almost every other year. So, but if you had to, couple more questions. If you had to describe your journey in one word, what would it be?
What in this sports media game?
Or ju- just in your journey in life, or ever overall?
My sports media. Well, this is about the sports media, so we'll go there. It's my journey in sports media has been unorthodox. I didn't go through just covering high school sports like I was supposed to because I didn't get that opportunity, but got into pros through an untraditional myth, untraditional way, like Golden State of Mind and SB Nation. So it's been unorthodox.
So what about so I always ask this question for my guests. Always, always. So bona fide means, unique, authentic. So what makes Miss Jannelle Moore bona fide, and what makes your story stands out from others?
The fact that my story, what makes me bona fide is my perseverance. My perseverance for the most part, because I think anybody else with the pitfalls that or the setbacks that I've had in this industry would have given up by now. I haven't. and I ain't. So it's my perseverance and just being uncompromising and unapologetically myself. I'm writing about the players with the sport news, and a lot of sports media. It's all about clicks and it's all about aggregation. I ain't doing that crap. You're getting Jannelle Moore. You're getting Jannelle Moore. You're getting me and all of my skills and my abilities. I'm not changing my writing style for nobody. If that means not making enough money as those with the clicks, that's fine. I just can't see myself changing up now because whatever I've done to get to this point, I mean, I can't go back on what is working. All I can do is just improve on it, but can't go backwards. And I think that just trying everything for clicks and coming up stuff just for clicks. That's not the way. That's not the way that I could solidify myself and to get on full time.
Ooh, I felt that. I felt that's a lot of gems that just got dropped on that one. Whole lot of gems. So
Because right now, I mean, would I love to have a huge following? Yes. Yes, and that might do me some favors, but I don't want to compromise myself to get there, and I don't think I have to. I would. I love to have the respect that I have for those who are familiar with my work and know me. So some other people catch on eventually, but I'm not going to just make an effort to be palatable to everybody. Either you rock with me or you don't.
yes, ma'am. So can you let the viewers know how and where they can follow and support you and if there's any upcoming events coming up for you?
Sure, you could follow me on X or Twix or Twitter or whatever whatever it is now at Jannelle 12. That is JANNELLE 12. You can follow me on IG at Writer Diva, and of course, you could see some of my work at the Sporting News. Yeah, and that's about it.
Y'all heard it first. Y'all heard it first. So big ups to Jannelle Moore for sharing your story, for coming on. Thank you so much. And thank you to all the viewers that came on and watched. The live replay will be on, of course, at the end of the show. Y'all stay tuned. Thank you. Peace.